Hey everybody, welcome once back to Spin Rack. Today we're doing some comic reviews. Today we're going to be talking about Wolverine and Blade. Wolverine versus Blade. Hey, I was taking a look at this comic and I was like, am I going to watch? Am I interested in this again? Yes, why not? Let's take a look and see what's going on. What got me was the mature audiences or mature content. I'm like, one thing the comic book companies are trying to do? They're trying to go upstream because let's get serious. Most of the people who are buying comics are much older than who they used to be. So when I was a kid, all the kids were buying comics. Nowadays, most kids are not buying comics. Most kids are buying video games. They're online. They're doing apps. They're doing other things. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you still see kids at the comic book store, but not quite as much because most of them are not reading in this particular format. Anime is huge. Manga is huge, so they're doing a lot of that. But in this thing, so what's happening? A lot of comic companies are saying, hey, you know what? We're going to get better paper, better qualities, better writers, better stories, and more important, we can charge more because the disposable income of the guys buying these things, they can afford it. Now, I mean, unless you're an avid comic book player and you're paying like $20 a week, which comes up to like $80 or $100, that's a big chunk. For regular people, $5 is a little steep, But if the story is good, the story is good. So here, let's take a look at what's going on here in Wolverine versus Blade. Now, my thought when I got the comic is that, they're going to be another battle. Wolverine and Blade have fought in the past. They have, and of course, it's always a misunderstanding the way these things work because they're good guys and stuff. But just to reiterate, Wolverine is a mutant, who has the power to heal himself at an extraordinary speed. So basically, you keep shooting him and he keeps coming right back to you. And Blade is, I guess, is a half vampire, half human, and he's able to, walk the streets where a lot of other vampires are not. And he's basically the antagonist to all vampires in the world. Well, not all, the ones who are bad, who are doing bad stuff. So, I mean, now look at this. The beginning just opens up, and the color is fantastic. I'm trying to figure out whether they're definitely using computers for this, but still, I mean, it's just nice. It's just sweetness. So they're basically fighting. Years ago, they're basically fighting. It starts off. They're basically fighting this mutant group. This not mutant. This vampire group called the Creed, and they're like a religious group, and they're crazy. Anybody who's getting into some crazy vampire cult type of business is, of course, nuts. But they're nuts and deadly. And, of course, we have two of our bloodthirsty dudes, Wolverine and Blade. They're taking no mercy. They're going to kill everybody. And some of the graphics and the images, of course, are just scrumptious. That's all I got to say. I mean, the art alone is like off. This actually is kind of funny because right here you have Batman, Azzarello, and, Azzarello, Bermejo, they do some great jobs in terms of this book is interesting. It's another day for a review, but I'm just saying the art in this book is just really impressive. The coloring is another level, the way they use it, but hey, that's another day. We're talking about Wolverine and Blade, and basically you see, I think, who's been more successful recently is been DC in doing that. Whereas here in Marvel, you're having, this is basically, in their old time, basically this was their trade paperback, not their trade paperback, like their more adult comic that they used to have. Like there used to be a Vertical for DC. Marvel had their own thing there. And now Marvel is saying, hey, we're putting this format in here now, but we're using our own superheroes. And hey, I think it looks pretty good. The story continues, is basically what they find out is that they fight, they kill this group, the Creed, they think is taken care of, but years later, they find that the Creed has come back. But what they're doing is they're getting mutants and making them into vampires. Which, when you think about it, that's some sick, real sick, crazy stuff. Actually, I don't know why no one's thought about it. They haven't thought about it before. I mean, there may have been other Marvel comics. I just don't recall right off the top of my head. But that's a great idea. If you want to take over the world and rule as vampires, hey, why don't you use mutants and then on top of that make them vampires? That's a double whammy and stuff like that. Again, this battle between our boys is just top notch. The color is just absolutely great. Here, there's a misunderstanding, as there always is. Blade thinks that Wolverine is bad and vice versa, basically. It was enjoyable. Is it what I expected? No. I mean, I knew they're going to get together. This is basically Marvel team up. But the very fact the art kind of threw me off a bit for a second. And here's a great review. We have Wolverine versus Wolverine clone with the bone claws. It's like, what the hell? The bone claws, baby. The bone claws. So I don't want to go into much more than that, but suffice to say, I think this is a read. Can't go wrong with it, especially if you're a Wolverine and Blade fan. So look, when I do these recommendations, one thing I gotta always say is that, people are gonna say, oh man, this comic was horrible. No, it's not necessarily horrible. The question is, was it for you? I'm only giving my opinion on what I think it is. I like villains like Loki. I like action anti-heroes like Wolverine and Blade. This is what I recommend. So when you're interested, you listen to a review of what people who like similar things to you. That's what you're looking into, okay? So come on, cut me some slack here. If you're interested in Wolverine, I think this is an interesting comic. If you're interested in Blade, it's definitely an interesting comic. If you're interested in vampires, definitely an interesting comic. Now, if you're interested in My Magic Pony, this is not the comic for you, okay? So listen, go out and get it. Spin a rack, out.